All right, so there is actually a Supreme Court case that is going to be going before the Supreme Court in April, and then they are going to issue a decision in June. And this may completely change how the homeless are being governed, managed, and policed within cities. Because right now, what the cities are saying is that because of saying that denying somebody a place to sleep or to sit or stand is a violation of somebody's Eighth Amendment right, because it gives you the citizenship rights. It gives the homeless citizenship rights, okay? And we're going to delve into that a little bit. I'm Friar Tuck. This is my epoch. And if you are not a subscriber, I'd like you to consider that. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this subject. But essentially, what's going on is the city of Grants Pass, Oregon, which is where I'm from, is making an argument that because of the Eighth Amendment restrictions and what's going on with homelessness and how it's expanding and it's getting out of control, and they've got tent cities popping up, that their hands are being tied as far as governing them. Now, apparently it had only made it up to the Ninth Circuit Court, which is the next step before you make it to the actual Supreme Court. And it had stated that to deny somebody the basic rights of a citizen of the city, because essentially what it did is it gave the homeless citizenship rights. And these citizenship rights, it allows us to be able to sit on a park bench without getting rushed off by the police because we're sitting there for more than a couple of minutes. Okay, but if we look like we're a housed individual, we can sit there as long as we want. And there was a lot of targeting of the homeless through these policies, to make it uncomfortable for the homeless to even live within the city, and forcing them to either move on, or a lot of them end up in jail. And the long-term effects of something like that is that when you go to get an apartment, when you go to rent anything, or you go to apply for a job, even though they seem like they're petty crimes and stuff like that, the way in which they label them is like trespass and stuff like that. They will label you with more than just trespass, and that prevents you from being able to get gainful employment, to be able to turn a whole new leaf over, because now you're being churned by the judicial industrial complex. And then as far as being able to have a productive life, it now becomes much harder. You have a lot more obstacles, because once you get out of jail and you've got those marks on your record, they will stay with you forever. It's not like you did the time and so therefore you get to turn over a new leaf. No, this is going to haunt you for the rest of your life. And so some people, especially within the homeless community, just because they know that they don't really have much to stand on, they just roll over, take the plea deal, do the community service, whatever. But long term, if they go to get a place, all of a sudden now that those plea deals come back to haunt them. I know I've had it happen to me a couple times, and I had to learn the lesson of taking a plea deal to begin with. And so what are the future things that could happen if this gets overturned by the actual Supreme Court? And they're considering that because there's conservative justices, the conservative justices will rule in favor of the cities, and therefore allow them to go back to business as usual. But then what happens when they have nothing that they can do? There's not enough room in the jails for all of the homeless to be able to criminalize it, and you're preventing them from being able to get any type of gainful employment, because they're having to be on the move at all times. It's a habit that I had to learn, because back in the day, it's only been since like 2011 that this has even been something that has been a right of the homeless. Up until then, that's why I always say you always got to stay on the move. I don't like staying in one place for too long, because that's the way it used to be, and it's about to go back to that. But as the homeless population explodes, and even though they're not talking about it, we're getting to see it every day on the streets. Even the homeless talk about it. It's like, man, it's getting crowded out here. And so you're going to have to end up creating something like the equivalent of a FEMA camp. So my great uncle, he was an Army psychic. He was in the remote viewing project in the 70s. And, he bought some property in Washington, right beside an old FEMA camp that was where they used to hold the Japanese during World War II. And he kept saying, "Oh, they got all this stuff there," and he warned me way back in the mid '90s that one day the American citizens would be put in there, and that you need to be aware of it. Well, those American citizens are most likely going to be the poor and the homeless and the ones who are dispossessed that cannot afford to live. You're going to be stuck outside the city, so that those that have the money don't get to see it, and they get to turn a blind eye to the system because they're indoctrinated, or they just for whatever reason they find it to be socially okay for things like this to happen. Now, this isn't going to be a long video. I just wanted to be able to weigh in on this subject because I think that it's important that if you whether you sympathize with the homeless, you're a prepper, and if you have to bug out, or if you have to do an inch bag, or do an kind of never come home, and you have to be on the move, these laws will affect you. If you sympathize with the homeless, this is something that you should probably get involved with, because the homeless themselves will not advocate for themselves. And you got to be able to give some sort of stability, because for example, this right here, I wouldn't be able to be sitting right where I'm at because I would be being ran off because of the criminalization of homelessness. It would be very disruptive for me and Sam, and we really wouldn't get much of a time to rest unless we went and hid in a dark alley. Okay, so just understand the ramifications of this and how this is going to affect people. If you have the ability to, write letters, or to call your congressman, or to weigh in because you're within, the judicial system, and to be able to kind of, put your 2 cents in there, this is the time to do it, because it's going to negatively affect not just the current homeless, but those who will be dispossessed in this economic collapse moving forward. So you know how to become a part of the family. Just become a subscriber. Don't forget to hit that bell notification, hit the like, leave a comment, share it with everybody. Anything else is down in the description. I strongly urge you to come over to Patreon. If you are a Patreon subscriber, for all paid members, I put a video out. So getting a new phone, it had some of my old stuff from 2016 and a project that I was working on and some other things. So I wanted to keep it private, so I put it over there. But if you either become a $5 a month member or a $10 a month member with the hobo tutorials and the behind the scenes, you'll get access to that video as well. And you'll get to see a piece of history, at least a piece of my history, of the last time I was this homeless. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.